And hello, everybody.
Hello.
It's me, Spence, or Resonant Moon. My pronouns are they, them. And right next to me,
Oh, I get to say my own name. I'm
you get to say
Taylor,
your own
or
name.
at Potato.
And we are real people on the internet, supposedly.
I don't feel too real sometimes.
Don't let this filter fool you. I am a real human. Anyway, don't mind me. First of all, welcome to Hype Week Day 2. Absolute awesomeness. And I want to first of all thank Nikki, the Beholder to No One, for covering for me yesterday. Had a little bit of an accident, so I could not host the start of Hype Week. So thank you so much, Nikki. Appreciate you to the moon and back. Thank you, thank you, me. And today I have the fantastic privilege of talking with Tay about
Some
well we're
good
having we're
old.
having a sleepover because I'm in pajamas right now. I don't know if you
I am
are.
too.
Yay! Because this is
I got
our
on my comfy pants.
I got
Still got wet
blanket.
hair from a shower. I'm just like,
I have
we're
slippers.
comfy. I don't have slippers.
My sister got them for me for my birthday, which was a week ago today.
Late
So
birthday.
bleh. Anyway, so this is our sleepover to talk about Sleepaway, which Tay is going to be facilitating. I don't want to say GMing because I just learned that this is one of my favorite types of games. It's a GM-less game.
Yes.
So
I'm very excited.
yeah. So tell us about Sleepaway. What kind of game is it other than we know that there's no game master?
There is no game master. Yeah, that is I am very excited for that, especially for this kind of like end of summer into fall, nice cozy, spooky, chill time of like I don't have to prep. And we get to tell like I am very much a person that I love GMing. I am a forever GM and it's a thing, but as most forever GMs are, I'm constantly convinced that what I'm writing is not good enough, or what I'm giving my players are not good enough. I don't got to do it for this one. Everyone gets to tell me what they want to say. It's going to be great. But Sleepaway itself is a belonging outside belonging game by Jay Dragon from Possum Creek Games. Possum Creek. I don't remember what the final portion of that. Yeah, Possum Creek Games. They also did Wonder Home, which is another beautiful, amazing, adorable game. And they have a new one coming out. It's like Yabiza's Bed and Breakfast or something like that. Looks great. They've got quite a few different games, but this one is similar in the way of everybody has their fun little playbooks that are different kind of tropes of a summer camp where everyone is playing as a camp counselor for this summer camp of whatever setting you decide. Some of the kind of tropes, though, like all belonging outside of belonging games, you kind of twist those on their head. But we have, the athlete, the counselor, the crafter, the fresh blood, the new counselor, the lifeguard. But everyone picks their kind of playbook here that gives you all sorts of different moves and fun things that you can do that help push that story along. So that way you don't need a GM. You can decide in whatever moment to enact one of your moves that kind of push that along. But
Mhm.
the setting that you're playing as all these camp counselors is at a summer camp of your own design that you make with your group in session 0. And outside of the camp, working what sort of odds or to what ends you do not know is a cryptid called the Lindworm that wants nothing more than to destroy everything. So
Mhm.
as you are playing this game, creating these strings, these bonds, these memories, when you get to the end of the game and the Lindworm is full on attacking, you the coolest thing about this game is as you play, you build a conspiracy theory board of a postcard with a string to different things, and you make this giant weave that you can see all of the connections your characters have made, the NPCs that they've met, the items that they've created, everything that you have done through this game. And when the lindworm attacks, you literally work your way backwards. So you start in whatever setting the lindworm begins to attack in, and you have to start sacrificing things from your thread, from your story to beat it, or it kills you. So it's, you're literally having to sacrifice some of these maybe super important bonds you've made with people by now, instead of helping this camper, you're basically, you don't I don't know. You're the last person to die. So maybe you actually do sacrifice this kid, to this, to whatever, or do something that, you know, to another player, maybe even, maybe there's this very interesting bond that y'all made that you now break and you have to lose because of how you are trying to make your way out. So it's a very like introspective look into like the weaves of people's lives together, but also with like campy, get it, campy camp things and some spooky horror along with it, and cryptids that you don't know
I mean,
anything
and
about.
cryptids, exactly.
Yeah.
So I have realized a thing. So we're
Uh-huh.
we're doing a whole bunch of new things with Weave the Tail this season. We've got updated software, updated browsers, um updated captioning, and what I've realized is me and Tay speak really quickly. So quickly that there are
Google
large
Captions is
portions
very
of
hard.
time there are large portions of time where our captioner can't keep up with us. So I'm going to have to remember that. I need to put on my narrator voice when I'm interviewing
Yes,
you. But it's so hard
it
because
is.
as the team of Weave the Tail, we are very excited about games. And what
Yeah,
happens when
yeah.
you get excited? You get
It
louder
just go, go,
and
go, go.
yeah. So
Mhm.
I am
Yep.
so excited about this game though, because one, GMless games are my absolute favorite because I know so many game masters who don't get to be players. So this is very fascinating. I do want to know how you are going to facilitate the conspiracy board or the cork board feature.
Yeah, so I was between 2 different options. One was Legend Keeper. I don't know if you've used that, app at all. It was kickstarted there for a while, and now it is officially out in a full program with new stuff happening. But it's very cool in the way of you can make your own personalized wiki for your own worlds, and so you can make, you know, different locations with maps, and then you can click on somewhere in the map and it pulls up the other map of the place in there or whatever. You can have collaborative places for your players to put info and notes, and on it they now have essentially like a mood board section where
Mhm.
you can put images and drag and do all of that. And I was very close to using that. That was my first instinct, but I think it's going to be a little harder when it comes to the end to destroy stuff with that, because there's a lot of moving parts you have to edit. So I was sitting there thinking about it, and somewhere in the recesses of my brain, I remembered a program I used like 4 years ago for a job that we used to use for storyboarding, and it's called Milanote. And it's exactly what we need. I was able to import I already have it all set up. It's very cute. I was able to import just a cork board looking background that I put
Mhm.
behind it, but you can make little note cards and attach strings, I mean arrows to it, to other things, and I think that'll
Mhm.
be easier when we go back through and start having to delete things, is because when you delete it, it automatically breaks all of those strings. So it
Oh,
won't be a
that's
bunch of moving
cool.
pieces. Yeah, so all of those strings will break as soon as you delete something out. And with that, you can color code it, make different things, because there's lots of there's 3 different categories of things that you can actually pin on the board, and I think it's kind of like a setting, item, and characters. And then there's also cards that are in play that dictate what the lindworm does, because you don't play as the lindworm. While you may invoke it to act upon you, you pull cards to make it be random and no one ever role plays it. So it stays this weird, creepy, mysterious being, and you're not putting any sort of expectations or now lines on what it can and can't do, you know? And so it'll allow us to pin the cards that we need to there as well. Because I also have Roll20 where we can also keep up all of our personal character notes because there are some moves that's like, oh, every time this happens, you get a token, which is, essentially like a string in Thirsty Sword Lesbians, something that you
Mhm.
can use to make better things happen down the road. Um, and so on Roll20, we'll have our actual camp map, we'll have those things for each character, and then that's where we can actually draw the cards.
Ah, awesome. And real quick, thank you so much to other Doc, friend of the channel for the raid. We really appreciate
Hello.
you. Um, I apologize for my atrocious typing. Uh, it is midnight where I am. So
Having a sleepover.
we are having a sleepover. As we stated, we are in our pajamas. I have slippers. Slippers are optional. Just not for Twitch. Twitch has a thing. But anyway, that's beside the point. If you have questions for Tay about Sleepaway, which is the game that Tay will be facilitating. I is that the proper term?
So,
Okay.
I'm gonna make sure the cards get drawn right and the board stays pretty. And we've kind of talked through because it is very different, at least for some of us have played Sleepaway before, Amber, Space Jammer. They've played it before, so I have a
Mhm.
bit of an understanding. I've played Wander Home, Nikki's played Wander Home, so we have a little bit of an understanding, but it is different. So I am going to do a little bit of hand holding in session 0 and session 1 and kind of guide the story a bit, but then hopefully by session 2, everyone will understand what all we need to do and when it's because it's weird when you're used to a normal GM'd game to know
Mhm.
when it's okay to just jump in and make something happen,
Mhm.
when you're used to, "Hey, can I do this?" instead of, "Oh, this happens."
Yeah.
So I'm hoping with the session 0 and 1, we'll kinda dip everyone's toes into it. So then
Yeah.
by session 2,
So
we'll be good.
we talked about the Lindworm, which is a key feature of this game. Leopold the Just on Twitter has asked, "What are your top 3 favorite cryptids?"
Ooh. Oh, that's so good. I love cryptidy things. Um, I I mean, the obvious, everyone loves them. Gotta love the Mothman. Like, who doesn't? Who doesn't? If you do, you're lying. Or don't like them, you're lying. They're great. Um, that weird little like seeing into the future, ominous, or are they causing it, or are they a beacon? It's very
Mhm.
fun. Um, let's see. I think a very personal one to me because I did not realize it was not a real animal until I was probably in double digits, like an embarrassing amount old. The jackalope. I was fully convinced a jackalope was a real animal until I was like 12 or 13. I was like, oh, there's not cute little bunnies with horns. I was
Yeah.
very sad. It was very sad. I was convinced I was gonna be driving down the road one day in the middle of West Texas and see one.
Let's
I
see
think it's
here.
because there was a store down the street from us that had a taxidermied one, it's like fake, but I thought like, "Oh, that's
Uh,
it."
Zump in chat is saying the Snallygaster just because of the name, and I'm like, yeah.
Yes. I don't know what it is, but yes, absolutely.
So we can look that up later. I think for me, because it's local to here, there is a Dogman. It's kind of like a werewolf, but it is a like the footage that different cryptid um enthusiasts have caught is it's too tall to be a wolf and it's standing bipedal, but the
Mm,
silhouette is of a wolf.
Just like a normal wolf on his back legs.
If I wasn't watching it live, I would have thought it was one of those cosplayers that, wear the big furry outfits with the giant heads with
Oh,
reflective
yeah,
eyes
yeah,
and
yeah.
the shoes that make it look like your ankles are backwards for
Yeah.
humans. Um, so yeah, there's that.
Oh,
Um,
Cold Drake. My third one is definitely Thunderbird. Like, that's so
nice.
freaking cool, like, every story about it and just then all of the, like, Native American lore around it is always just so interesting, and it's just so cool, and I also remember I grew up in the '90s, and I grew up pretty dang close to the Southwest and family in New Mexico and stuff, so my grandma, my aunt had all of the, like, Thunderbird pattern shirts and things, that you get in, like, Santa Fe because they would go there all the time in the '90s. And I just always thought the imagery was so cool. It's just a big giant bird.
I so I will say I was supposed to be running a game of
Hunter?
Hunter the Reckoning.
There you go.
And it was like, "Oh, you're gonna hunt some monsters." And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna look up different monsters." And I really got into looking up uh the different Native American protective spirits.
Mhm.
And I now can't remember the name of the spirit, but it was like this ghostly spirit that would from like Maine-ish area. And it would wander around, and if you met it, it would offer you food. And if you ate the food, you died. And I was like, I can change this a little bit to give it more mystery. And I made that spirit like a servant of the raccoon god.
Mhm.
And basically they were trying to protect the land, and it was going to be this whole moral conundrum, but my availability ended up changing, so I can't run it this season. I will be
We'll
running
get
it
it.
eventually.
We'll get it.
But that lore was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I'd be sitting here like, is it tasty? I'm very food oriented. Like all of my games have something about food in it. So
I love it.
okay, so we have another question from our Twitter. Canadian Moose, our beloved Blair, asks, how many camp chants or songs will your party have to learn or create over the course of the game?
Well, now at least one. I'm gonna make it happen. Maybe that'll be my GM prep. I'll just have one camp chant that we have to say at the beginning or end of it. Because I mean, hey, a lot of J Dragon and Possum Creek games have like ritual kind of things in it. Like in Wanderhome, I think there is
Mhm.
like you can say this at the beginning and end to kind of like open and close your session. So we can come up with some fun like slightly
I
ominous but fun chant.
I have so many memories of Girl Scout camp, and I'm like, tap me for resources. I got you. I got
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Um, ooh, okay. We have Zump has given us some more information about the Snallygaster, a
Oh,
strange
yay.
beast prowling the woods of Frederick County, may have been made since the 1730s, making it one of Maryland's oldest legends. 18th century accounts by early German settlers refer to this beast as a Schnellergeist, which means quick ghost in German, that rapidly pounces on unsuspecting prey. See, I can
That's
say things in
terrifying.
German. I can say things in German. I can't say things in English, apparently, but German is my second language and Dutch is my third. Go figure.
There you go.
Um, let's see here. And oh man, our
The
chat is
Legend Boggy Creek. I've heard of that one because Texas area too.
back in the mid 70s, I was in Arkansas. The Legend of Boggy Creek down in Texarkana. We drove down with the stupid idea of hunting the legend in the swamp at midnight. And then there is a baseball. We ended up just going for pizza instead.
I love I remember so when I was younger, I was a baby. Like, as much as I love spooky and horror things now,
Mhm.
terrified of anything even slightly spooky when I was a child. Like, I remember having to turn off the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody Halloween special because it was too scary. Like, I was a wuss. And how I would like I would say I was a wuss, but I still liked hearing the ghost stories. I was
Mhm.
That's why I've now gotten over it and I love them. But I would always rationalize in my head like, "Oh, it's, like, far away from me. I don't have to worry about it." Then I started learning about some of the more ghost stories closer to me because I remember the one scared me the most was the story of, like, the bus full of kids that got hit by a train, and so now when you park your car in the tracks, it'll be the handprints. That's in San Antonio. So I was
I
like,
I
That's
went
so close."
there. I used to
Did you
live
do
in
the
San
thing?
Antonio, and we did the thing, and we put flour on the back bumper, and we did the
Mhm.
thing, and then there were little handprints in the flour, and it creeped me
Mhm.
out because this is 13, 14-year-old me was like,
I would have
"Not even supposed
cried
to be
because
here."
I when I figured out it was close to me, I was like, "Oh, no. Are all these other stories close to me too?" And then my whole rationale went out the window, and I was scared of everything again.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you what though, the woods of New Hampshire where I spent most of my teenage years, uh they do not lie when they tell you that a Fisher cat's cries sound like a baby.
Ooh, oh, we had mountain lions, which sound like women screaming,
And
like a woman horrified screaming.
it's
Mm.
terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
Ugh. Hard pass.
Um,
That's
yeah.
where most of the scary cryptid stories come from.
Mhm,
Like
mhm. Okay, let's see here. Next question, also from Leopold the Just on Twitter. Um, Going into it, are so I'm going to change this question a little bit, seeing as it's not actually a GM'd game.
Mhm.
But if you were to recommend resource material for your players to get a feel of what the setting is, what movies, books, or video games would you recommend?
Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, I think obviously you can do like I think maybe less for the horror, but just to get in the mindset of like teen camp. I mean, you could do like Friday the 13th and those sort of things where it's just like kind of goofy slashers at this point, but camp vibes. And then also the something stalking you. But oh, what is that? What is that camp movie?
Is it Ernest
Wet
Scared
Hot
Stupid?
American Summer.
Okay.
That was good too. That, like, Wet Hot American Summer where they're all camp counselors at, like, this camp. I feel like that could get you in the mood, and then we'll just make it real scary. Um, but I mean, mostly, I think probably for me would be trying to find more of those less slasher, goofy camp films for like the horror side and look more into like the psychological and interpersonal ones. You know, what is it that scares you about those and how can you incorporate that in? You know, where it could even be things like Parasite. It's not necessarily a horror movie, but it's scary of how this family has to interact with each other and like their instances within each other. Like what makes you uncomfortable with that and how can we bring that now into this story that's really supposed to be introspective as much as it is campy horror, you know?
My initial thought, in addition to that, would be Cabin Fever is one that you don't know where the source of the scary is coming from, and
Mhm.
everybody becomes a threat. You could also take that if you did like an Among Us play,
Yes.
Among
Who
Us
done
and the
it?
cat. Oh, right. Oh, make it super
Cabin
campy
in the
like
Woods.
Clue.
Yes, I was
Yes.
agreeing to that. I love Cabin in the Woods. is one of my favorite movies because I had no clue what it was going into it. So that's the best way to watch it, is thinking you're watching a scary movie and then it turns into what it is and you're like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
that was fun." Another good one, which I'm gonna watch it again before we
Mhm.
start this to see if in my head it would make sense. Um, As Above, So Below. Such a mind fuck of a movie.
Okay.
Um, it has a lot of that psychological what's going on, confusion, lost, bad things chasing you, don't know what's going on. It's about a group. It's one of those like found footage kind of films
Mhm.
of a group that goes down into the Paris catacombs. And then it's
Ooh.
like as above, so below. They basically get into this like evil inverse of these like catacombs and have to fight their way through. And it's a lot of they lose friends along the way. And is this really my friend, or is it something bad? Or is this what I need to be doing? Or is it a red herring? Like, I feel like that could be a fun thing to watch
Mhm.
and see the twists and turns of that, and then
Yeah.
throw that into this sort of setting because there is an option. I mean, you can very much die. You can choose to have your character die, or something bad can just happen, your character dies.
Mhm.
But there is an option for the weirdness,
Mhm.
that is certain elements that can um, make themselves known. But then there are also, if you die, you can come back as a weirdness character or a strangeness, weirdness. What is it? I think it might be strangeness. Yeah, strangeness.
Mhm.
So there's like the option, if you die, to be come back as the found again, who was once a staff member at the camp long ago before the lindworm arrived. Um, with its arrival, for one reason or another, this poor, unfortunate staff had no choice but to flee, hide deep within the secret places of the world. Now they've returned, nervous and unprepared. So it's like you can die and then come back as this character that's like weird and creepy. And like, do you trust him? Do you not? Or then there's like the guide that's their duty is to accompany campers wherever they journey. And they're like in this world on their own, like so clear, kind of
Mhm.
mystic vibe. Or then what's the other one? The orchid, which is sometimes we sink so deeply it takes years to emerge, and the forces of the world keep pushing us down until we end up somewhere we never thought we'd be. It makes sense that there are those of us who find comfort in the strangeness, and though away, return to the surface and once again bloom. The summer camp is a refuge for anyone who needs safety from the violence of the world, and sometimes our old friends find their way back to our doorstep at the strangest time. So the orchid is
Mhm.
essentially an unnerving individual, and their power is grounded, mysterious, and draws upon the gifts granted to the strangeness. So it's like you can come back as these weird characters too, which I think would be super interesting if it happens.
So, Cole Drake has some great suggestions in the chat too. Mind Twister, Donnie Darko, Mulholland Drive, Eraserhead. And
Yes.
then poses the question, would you consider Sixth Sense to be a weird slash twist movie? And honestly, I feel like this could be an interesting take for a scenario like this, but
Hmm.
it's less about somebody being unseen and taking away some senses.
Yeah. And then you could even play off of, because when I first saw Sixth Sense, I was younger. I wasn't into like movies or storytelling, so I had it was a huge twist. I had no clue. But now watching with a little keener eye, or knowing you see the signs a little bit. They're not obvious until you're doing it, but you can kind of see the things coming together throughout this game too. You come up with kind of these setting elements that keep coming back. You basically pick these elements that keep coming back. Like, I think one of them is literally crows, and like, oh, it's this omen and then crows. And so you want to build off of that more and more as the story goes on. So I feel like that could be something cool in that Sixth Sense kind of vibe of there's these elements that keep showing themselves. What is the twist that was telling you was coming that you didn't realize,
I
you know?
I have a thing and we can talk about it offline, but I have a
Hmm.
thing. Like
Yes.
you just saw the light bulb go off in my head.
Hmm.
Um but another one, if you've seen the movie Krampus,
Mm, feel like I have. Maybe
So
not.
I did not expect it to be as much of a thriller
Sign.
horror movie. Signs is really
Mhm.
good.
Signs is
I enjoy I enjoyed that one, and I enjoyed all the little hints that came from the dying mom. That was great. But in Krampus, these people who no longer believe in Christmas and who act naughtily are
Mhm.
scooped away by unseen things, and those are the best scares. I know it is a tried and true trope, but the things that you can't see
Yeah.
are the scariest things in the world.
Mhm.
Or if you are blind, or if you have some other, sensory deprivation, and the one
Mhm.
thing that you focus on, whether it's sight, smell, taste,
Yes.
touch, the scary thing is what you can't perceive.
Can't perceive. Like there oh, 2 things that made me think of. There's that movie, I don't remember what it's called. It has the lady that plays in, like, Haunting on Hill House and stuff where she's deaf, and there's the
Mhm,
guy that's trying to break into her house or I haven't got to see it yet. I've heard had it recommended so many times, and now I can't remember what it's called, but it's one of those things of where,
mhm,
someone's trying to break into this house of someone who can't hear anything and how she's having to deal with this stranger-esque moment. But
mhm,
that then made me think of because she's in Haunting a Hill House. Man, Haunting a Hill House, Bly Manor, both Hill House more, but it would be so good for that interpersonal kind of horror to think
mhm,
about because I mean, yeah, it's a scary show and there's ghosts, but the real scary thing is all the family's relationships and drama and how they're overcoming their trauma together or despite each other. And I think
mhm.
that could be a super fun. Plus, it has just really good like little strings and scares in it on the ghosty sense
Is
anyway.
it Hush?
But Hush. Yes, yes, I think
Okay,
that's it.
yeah. Thanks, Cole.
Yes, thank you. Mhm.
Okay, so I think my last recommendation is because I was forced to watch this, and I'm glad I was. Um, Love and Monsters.
Oh, I've had that one saved for a bit too, but I haven't watched it yet.
So it's really cute. So basically, the end of the world has happened because giant mutant bugs showed up and were eating people.
Mhm.
Um, and so people have been hunkered down. And this one kid, he's been in the bunker for a couple of years and he misses his girlfriend at the time. So they've been communicating with the CB radio and he decides, "Nope, I've had enough. I'm going to go find her." And campy montage ensues. And it's great.
Yes.
It's great. Um Woody Harrelson's in it. It's
I
fantastic.
love anything with Woody Harrelson. I watch it's a new movie on Netflix. It's not horror. It's Woody Harrelson and Kevin Hart. I just watched it yesterday. I don't know. It's new on Netflix. It's like a goofy action movie. Like not winning an Oscar or anything, but you put Woody Harrelson or Kevin Hart in anything, and I'm like,
They can choose
this
a
is
scenery.
fun.
It's fine.
I'm
It's
like, oh, this is
fine.
great. I ate my like Boy Scout popcorn sitting on the couch, like, ooh.
Well, yeah. So, we are coming to the end of this fantastic conversation. And Tay, I would like you to tell the folks when and where they can watch this fantastic game of yours.
Yes, everybody. This Friday at 3:30 Eastern will be our session 0. So we will make our characters, we will make our camp, we'll get all of these fun little juicy connections going on. I'm hoping, I'll give a little uh hint here. I'm hoping that if no one else picks it, I want you to be the song leader. I think that's the playbook I wanna go for, because
I
you get
would
the options let's see
I
what
would
oh,
I
this
would
is
peg you for a song leader too.
right? Well, this is what sold it for me because in each playbook, you choose your name, you describe your look, childhood fear, and a couple of more particular questions, but then the other one everyone gets is choose your gender, and the options are all just like, "Oh, beautiful," but the song leader got me. Every single one of them got me. Blackberry blossom, a June apple, a freight train, a wagon wheel, an early morning, blowing in the wind, but the one I think I want is a crawdad.
I love it. Um,
A crawdad. That
so
is
I
definitely.
I think
Um,
for me, if based on the playbooks that you told me, but I think I'm kind of typecasting myself. What do you think my playbook would be?
he's gonna go crafter.
Ta-da!
Is a crafter? Yeah. Let's see.
I am
What?
never
So
without
we've
a crochet
got.
hook in hand.
Okay, so here, because all the like the describing your look and stuff is just like honest eyes. The genders are the funnest part because you really get to like introspective on who this person is. Some of the options are priestess femme, grass lad, which is adorable, a turtle, a cloud over the sun, a particular color, or a tree kisser. They're all so cute.
I want to be a turtle, damn
Big turtle and a crawdad. But
We'll just go
that's what
swim
I
in the
was.
swamp. It's gonna be a good old
I
time. Then
love
I pull out my cage now, and then we're gonna have some crawfish, but not the crawdad. We're gonna have some crawfish and some jambalaya, and it's gonna be a good old time. And some
I'm
people
gonna
ain't
have
gonna
to
touch
work
my
on that
face.
accent.
And
I'm
yes,
gonna have to
and
work on my
Coldrake,
Cajun accent. I'm not good at it.
Coldrake, thank you so much for the pun.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. Puns are my jam, and whenever they are
Yes.
made, I get giggly.
Love it. I love it.
um,
Hopefully there will be so many fun little campy puns to be had. But
yeah,
yeah, this
s'mores.
Friday, 3:30 Eastern, session 0, and then every Friday through the season at 3:30 Eastern with my beautiful crew, but also not crew because I'm not a GM. We're just a big old happy storytelling group.
So it's gonna be a session 0, building characters, getting the setting together, kind of building those connections. So that's what to expect. And let me tell you what else is going on this week because it's Hyper Week. I
Yeah.
It's 12:38 a.m. and I still have 4 hours of work to do, so please don't mind my insanity.
No.
Anyway, tomorrow, technically today my time, but you're on the Pacific Coast. It's still yesterday.
Yeah, it's
Um
not even past my bedtime yet. I got
yeah. So, tomorrow night we are going to be playing some Jackbox games. We've got I know it's going to be me and Tay and a couple other people. Um,
make
what
it a good
time did
time.
we say?
Figure it out.
What time
I
did
think
we
it,
say that was going to be?
8 or 9 Eastern was the goal.
Yeah, yeah,
It's loosey
that.
goosey, when we got people, we gonna do
Make sure you
it.
check out our Twitter, okay? Okay.
Yeah.
um,
Or check out our Discord because I think there's gonna be a call if anyone wants to play with us.
oh, you know what? Okay, so full let's do a Discord. I don't have a Discord link.
Oh, I don't know if I can put links in our
I
Twitch. I
can.
should be able to. I'm a mod, right?
Yeah, you're a mod.
Let me see. Let me see.
Uh
Okay, I'll copy this. I'll copy this
yeah,
link.
yeah. Do the link. Do the link. Make sure it's not our make sure it's the Penny for a
Does
Tail network one. Okay, good. Not the staff one. Anyway,
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
on
yeah.
too many Discords. Do you have that
Uh-huh.
problem? I have
Yeah,
that problem. Anyway,
yeah. Just
I
got
will
added a
fix
new one today too. I'm like,
I will
the
fix
number
that
keeps
later.
growing.
um, but yeah, so check that out because we will have some openings. The 3 games that we've narrowed it down to are Trivia Murder Party, Fibbage, and Quiplash. Mostly because those are my favorite games. Hush.
The
You know.
best. Look, I can play
Thursday.
nothing but Murder Trivia Party and be sick.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? We're going into spooky season.
Yeah.
Um, Friday, obviously, we're going to have Sleepaway Session 0. Saturday, we are going to have a one shot of Brand Colonia. I think I said that right on the first
So,
try.
I think so.
And so that's going to be a one shot featuring our dear Mitch as the um GM. I will be playing uh Pix, Empress Pix will be playing, as well as Canadian Moose, our dear Blair. Um, so yeah, it's gonna be a good old time. And that is going to be, I think, 8 p.m. as well. Don't quote me on that. Just check our Twitter.
It exists somewhere.
I'm a terrible host. Anyway,
Look,
did
we
you
got a
all
lot going on. It's hard to
we
remember them.
really do. Oh, it's at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. So, there's that.
7:30, 7:30. 3:30
7:30.
Sleepaway. 7:30 Grandparent.
Ah, brain.
We got
Please,
there. We got
yeah,
there.
Okay. Anyway, we've confused people enough.
Just like
Um
follow our socials. We know what we're doing there. Well, Blair knows what we're doing.
Blair knows what we're
So
doing. Thank you, Canadian Moose, for being our social media manager. Thank you, Chaotic Darby, for being our community manager over on the Discords. Thank you,
you'd be so
Tay,
lost.
for making all of these gorgeous overlays.
Thanks.
Tay's amazing at that. And I just show up and run the show whenever they tell me to, and I make things up as I go. But I would never ask to do anything other than that because
Amen.
I love what we do.
It's so good. Good,
It's
good,
so
good, good
good.
vibes. Good vibes.
Good vibes all around. So we will see you all tomorrow night for some Jackbox games. And until then, make sure you bring your friends to the table.